In this quick video, we are going to be going over what is an Etsy conversion rate, followed by what is an Etsy CTR. Hopefully in this quick video, we can cover what these metrics actually mean for your Etsy shop, what is a good or bad CTR or conversion rate for your store, and how to analyze or tweak the dials on your shop to optimize these metrics for more profitability or more sales. So let's get into this video. So what is a store conversion rate? So if I come into my shop right now, you will see that in the last 30 days, we have a 1.1% conversion rate. And what a conversion rate actually is accounting for is out of all of the clicks that you get to your listings, right? At what rate are people purchasing? So out of every 100 clicks that I'm getting about 1.1% of people actually purchasing a product from my listings for this brand specifically. Now, on the contrary, we have another metric called CTR. Click-through rate is something that can be found on an ad level. If you go to marketing and then Etsy ads, right? You have a whole column here that is click rate, which means out of all the times that your ad popped up, how many people are actually clicking on those listings, right? So in this example here, we have out of every 100 clicks, I'm getting 2.2% of people, or 2.2 people clicking on my listing in comparison to my competition. So first, what is a good or bad conversion rate for your store? And this question, and also the preceding question, which is what is a good CTR? These questions are kind of like a catch-22 because there's not a clear answer per all niches, right? So for some niches, a 1% conversion rate could be actually really profitable, while in other niches, it's not profitable at all. It's really contingent on what your sale price is, how many listings you have, how broad or how narrow your niche is. All of these variables contribute to what that conversion rate is. And so the rule of thumb is to launch your store for the first time and then allow data to start being collected. And it's also very similar with CTR. A good or bad click-through rate is very contingent on the types of products that you are selling. Pose the question, what is good or bad as far as what is your overall conversion rate or CTR? The answer isn't what is it in comparison to my competition, it's relative to your own shop and your own listings, right? So what I mean by that is that you are competing against your own metrics for optimization, right? The CTRs that you get on your listings are relative to your other CTRs. And so what happens is as you start collecting data, right, in a way, you're competing against your own self, right? So if you launch your store for the first time and you see that your CTRs are ranging from anywhere from 1 to 3%, right? Obviously, the listings that are getting that 3% CTR, those are the listings that you want to pay attention to when it comes to analyzing, you know, those main images or the value propositions or what's going on in those listings that may not be occurring in the other listings. So that's what I'm talking about, where it's relative to your other listings. And your goal is to optimize and constantly be striving for higher CTRs relative to what other products that you have launched. And it's also the same for your conversion rate. So if you go to market for the first time, your conversion rate may be not that great because you don't have reviews, your listings aren't very indexed, you don't have a lot of social proof going on with your listing. Etsy is also trying to figure out where your products belong in the search pages and what they need to get indexed for, right? And then over time, you know, after 3 months, if your conversion rate is 1%, right, then make it a goal for the next 4 months to get it to 1.3% and start focusing on how to enhance your listings to increase that conversion rate and sell better the product that you're trying to sell to the customers once you earn that click. I'm gonna pause the video right there because I have a huge favor to ask right now. I have a goal of interviewing over 500 established Etsy merchants by the end of 2023. Unfortunately, I'm just not a big enough data sample. I know my pain points that I personally have with the Etsy platform, but I wanna know what your pain points are. So if you are interested in meeting me in person and having this short 15-minute call, I just thank you so much. Go ahead and click the link in the description and I will be contacting you very shortly to set up our call. So a couple of ways to increase your conversion rate. If CTR is all about getting that click and earning that click from based off the main image, the value proposition of the product and the product itself, right? Conversion rate is how to convert the customer after you've already earned the click. So some ways that we can enhance that customer experience to optimize the chance of a conversion, right? What can we do? We can make sure that our image positions are fully optimized and beautiful. We can make sure that our imagery is cohesive and branded together great, right? We don't want to have a beautiful main image and then uncohesive or unbranded images that follow, right? We want to make sure that we maintain that level of the perception of the item being really high, right? Because bad quality branding, bad following images, bad graphics that could follow that main image can actually scare people away, right? And a big rule of thumb is that a lot of the information that you actually have in your FAQ, right? You can figure out how to configure that in your imagery. So it's kind of like you can force them to read maybe some valuable sentences that are in your descriptions, because so few people actually go down to the description and read the description, right? You can come up with different types of branded graphics and stuff like that to further help sell your item in the images, also in the video as well, which I highly suggest that you have a video. And if you don't have a video for each and every product, then come up with some, branded video showing you making the product or showing your face so that you can put a face to your actual brand, because that can only help. It can't hurt to put a face to your brand and connect with, the people viewing your products further. So some ideas with that is just making obviously there's no audio, but showing yourself, waving to the camera, maybe making the product, maybe fulfilling an order. If you're designing digital downloads, maybe it's you, sitting at your computer designing, right? I'm sure you've seen all of the Etsy type of content that goes viral on TikTok, Instagram, right? You could throw a standard video in there that you could use for all of your listings. All of those things may not make or break your store, but if somebody is on the cusp of purchasing your product, right, it can only help, it can't hurt. Other things to help you increase that conversion rate is by having options or variation options in that drop-down menu. And there's a right and a wrong way to go about that, right? We want to make sure that our drop-down menu is so simplistic to understand. If there is even a moment of unclarity of what they're getting for what they're paying, right, that is going to increase your drop-offs. I see this actually pretty often, where a lot of times in the main image photography, you will see an image of a product, but inside that image, if it's an earring, you can also see a necklace in the image, but then when you go to click on the image, it's actually only the earring that's being sold, right? Where you may have earned that click, but then lost that conversion because they clicked on it on the pretense that you could have both, or there was an option to buy both. So if you are gonna display a main image of anything, you need to make sure that there is an option to buy it in the drop-down menu, or the main image that's being shown that people are clicking on is actually the only thing that they can buy. And I know a lot of times people think like, oh, well, isn't it common sense because it's in the center of the screen? But even if you can see another product, it can distract or create assumptions of, oh, maybe there's something else to buy in that listing. So we want to make sure that the main image has the product as the center focal point, only showing that product. And if you're showing multiple products, then you must have an option to buy multiple products in your drop-down menu. But by the very nature, by adding variation to your drop-down menu, it gives them the opportunity to buy higher ticket or lower ticket, which also by the very nature helps your average order value, which increases the SEO and the favorability of that listing in the eyes of Etsy. Now, alternatively for CTR, right, again, we are optimizing our click-through rates relative to our other listings that we have launched, right? So we're gonna go into our Etsy ads, or we're gonna go into our Etsy stats, and we're gonna see which listings are getting the highest CTR, right? Because Etsy's favoring them for some reason. We wanna analyze, what did we do in that listing? Did we show multiple items? How was the lighting when we took that image, right? What angle was the product angled at? How was it centered on the screen? What was the backdrop color, right? We wanna analyze all those attributes about the picture and strive to do more of what's working. Now, it's no surprise that when I go into my Etsy stats, right, the top performing listings for my shop specifically are always bundled items, meaning I'm showing more than one item in that main image, right? But of course, I always have the option to buy a full set option or all the things that you see in that image. So if you find that you have one listing getting a really good CTR for a product, right, maybe take that product and bundle it with other products that it makes sense to be next to and put them and try to sell them in different types of bundled sets, right? And now one SKU or one product just turned into 4 or 5 or 6 other listings, right? Then you can, put more keywords into your listing to try to expand your searchability and show up on more search pages to get more sales. But overall, guys, I hope I answered your question about what is a good or bad conversion or CTR rate. Again, you are competing out with yourself for optimization, right? And of course, there are industry standards, but at the end of the day, what works for you for the same niche might not work for someone else, contingent on other variables or other factors. So it's always a matter of you striving for optimization on all metrics that exist in your store. And obviously we talked about CTR and conversion rate, but there's other metrics like repeat buyers, average order value, all of these other metrics that we're constantly tweaking the dials for to increase our sales, increase our profitability, increase our brand awareness as brands. So hopefully you guys got some value out of this video, and I will see you all in the next episode. Bye guys.